John from Franklin, Tennessee. Hello, gentlemen. I've written in a couple of times with questions over the past couple of years, and you are always so helpful that I'm back again. Thank you for all the education you provide to all of us here in podcast land. I never miss a show, and I look forward to it on Tuesdays. On your last podcast, you answered a question regarding assisting a child with a first home purchase. I'm starting to think about the same thing. You wanted to ask a slightly broader question on the topic. My wife and I are 48 and are situated well for retirement with roughly $1.5 million in tax deferred, $3.5 million in brokerage accounts, and a paid for home roughly $2.5 million. We are in a position to help our kids with initial home purchase, and I would love to figure out the smartest way to do that. As you might expect, I'm fully invested, not a lot of idle cash sitting around, but obviously I could access the brokerage account with no problem, other than the cap gains tax that would come along with that. My question is, if you were in my shoes, what options would you consider for freeing up money for a starter home purchase? One item to consider is my paid home has a big indebted cap gain tax awaiting for me. We have about $1 million in the home, so capital gain will be about 1.5 or about $1 million of taxable capital gain after the $500,000 exclusion. If not for that, I think we would probably downsize and free up $1 million at least in the next 5 to 7 years. We'll likely retire at age 55, but now I'm wondering if we should maybe consider staying put much longer than expected, maybe forever. It's your forever home, Franklin, Tennessee.
That's a long time.
Yeah, forever. How do you plan for forever? Are we being flippant again, Al? Stop with your flippant attitude.
Yeah, I'm
flippant serious.
I'm not. I'm just listening.
Maybe forever.
It's like when you get you go buy a pair of like jeans or something, and it has a lifetime guarantee, and then you realize lifetime means like a couple of years.
No.
Yep.
So he wants to wait till death because of the step up in basis. If that's even a possibility for us, should we consider something like a home equity loan to pull out a bunch of that equity to pay for a home for my son? Let's say $400,000 or $500,000 just for illustration. Is that crazy? It sure feels off script to me, the guy who has been totally debt free for over 20 years. At this point, I'm leaning toward purchasing the home in full, structuring it as a loan to my son, and then using the annual gift exclusion in order to pay the loan back. I think that allows me a gift of $64,000 to my son and his wife. Would prefer to do it that way versus using up some of my lifetime exemptions, since I have no idea how much this money will grow between now and I meet my demise. But John, you're living forever. The idea of paying estate taxes just makes me nauseous. Thanks for your time. I look forward to your thoughts. And if you don't mind, I'd appreciate if you guys can quickly bring the bear market to an end. Work on that for me on your spare time. No problem, John. We'll get this bear market right back in its cave. I don't know. What do you think? So home equity, he wants to pull out $400,000 or $500,000 and buy the house outright for his son. He wants to structure a note.
Yeah, I don't like either of those ideas. So if you're used to being debt free, stick with debt free. And plus, you don't need to buy a home for a kid and then just slowly gift it to them. Have them have some skin in the game, right? In other words, you give
How
them
about if he doesn't want to have them skin in the game?
I'm going to go there first,
Okay.
and then I'm going to come back to that.
Got it.
Because I have a thought about that too. So first of all, is I don't really like the idea of parents just providing a home for their kids because they have no skin in the game. It doesn't mean near as much to them. I'm all for a parent providing a down payment, and it could be a decent sized down payment. You could set up a loan. You could just do a gift, and you're right. You could do $64,000 a year. You could do $100,000 loan and forgive some of that loan the first year, and then the rest the second year. Those are all possible. I would rather have my kid, in my case, my two sons, have skin in the game so that they pick the house they want, that they can actually afford. I'll help them with down payment. By the way, this hasn't happened yet, but this is my plan. And then they've got to have the income to be able to qualify for the loan. I don't want to co-sign. They need to be able to do that. Then I think that's very responsible. Now, Well, I'll let you comment if you have any comments on
No,
that
I'm
first of
good.
all. Okay. Now, on the other
Thank
hand,
you. Thank you for letting me comment.
yes, I realized I was going to go to the next point because I'm very kind.
Yes.
I'm not so flippant today.
I appreciate it. You flipping.
Anyway, so on the other hand, if you want to just give it to your kids, and I don't know your situation, maybe your parents did something similar, and if that's how your family wants to do it, let's go off of that premise for a little bit. What you suggested is a way to do it.
So he's got a bunch of equity tied up in the house. Let's start there.
Okay.
How does he unleash it? Would you take a note? He's 48, right?
Right.
So he's not 68.
Right.
So it's like, all right, well, does it make sense to take $400,000 or $500,000 now? Maybe it did. I don't know, 6 months ago, and interest rates could have been, should have been, right? Because if he's never going to sell the house,
right. So, all right. So let me think
how do you
about that.
how do you unlock some of that
So
equity?
my current age in my 60s, the answer is no way. But in my 40s, maybe. It depends whether I could afford it, right? Whether I felt like I could afford the mortgage payment. It would also depend upon if I was really serious about selling the home, because then when I sell the home, I just pay off the mortgage. And by the way, if you do want to sell your home, and I get that you got $1 million taxable, but you get $2.5 million out of it. So you're only paying tax on $1 million. I don't know you're in Tennessee. I don't know about the state taxes there. Federal tax, let's call it worst case, 25% of $1 million, $250,000 tax is a lot of tax. However, you're getting $2.5 million to do with whatever you want to be able to live the retirement life you want and buy the home that you want. It's not necessarily that bad of a way to go. So in other words, if you end up selling the home, you're going to have to pay off the mortgage anyway. So maybe you just take some of those proceeds that you would have got later. That's kind of my thinking there. I don't know, even in my late 40s, I still would like to have my kids have some skin in the game.
Sure. If let's say he takes $500,000 out, the mortgage payment's going to be $30,000. Maybe he buys the house and then has the kid pay him something.
Yeah, set up a note. You could do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if the kids can't afford the note, and then that's when the gifts come in to cover the mortgage payment.
Sure.
So here we're going to give you, $15,000 a piece to cover the $30,000 mortgage. I'm just using 5% on $500,000 on the 30-year note. Is the payments about $30,000.
Right.
So then, all right, but the risk is all on dad here, on
right.
John. But that might be fine too, because then you just kick the kids out of the house. I don't know.
Yeah.
If they don't pay and
then that's your house.
Yeah, then it's your house. Do what you want.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.